Oh shit, I'm live. Can't believe I'm live, but here I am. I mean, it's Tuesday. It's 6 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, it's 6 p.m. Eastern time. Well, hey, Wombat, man, how you doing, man? I'm alone, man. I'm alone here. There is nobody for me to talk to, aside a puppy. So I am here just basically for a conversation. Now, what I thought I would do, and I didn't really run this by Greeno, but kind of what I would. Hey, here's Chris G. What I wanted to do was kind of discuss where we were at on this series. Now, we videotaped piece one. Now, piece one was the first 24 hours. And there is a lot that goes into the first 48 hours. And there really is, because everything that we know, everything that we discuss, everything like that occurred during those 48 hours. You see, everything that law enforcement has talked about, everything that, all of that took place within those 48 hours, specifically on February the 13th, 2017. So, a lot goes into that, and we learned, excuse me, well, maybe not way over there, about like that. Here we are. Kind of set me up a little to the side. So me and Greeno was kind of discussing like day one, when it happened. Now I don't want to like repeat what we were talking about. That's where I want to stay away from. Yes, thank you. And that was something that I wanted to bring up right there. Pennsylvania deer hunter and his crew are in Florida vacationing. They're down there watching. So I hope that you guys are having a great time. And I'm pretty sure that that's not all Pennsylvania deer hunters. But if it is, man, you guys should really have a fantastic time down there, man. I appreciate you guys being here. Really do. Thank you, watcher. Appreciate that. Sharon, Wombat, Chris G, Sir Michael Green, kind of a fave mod. Okay, you're on, dude. We'll play. We shall play one day, man. You know what? Then get a hold of me. Here's my email. Right there, man. We'll hook up on chess.com, play a game. This back here, I don't know if anybody was looking at the green screen behind me. You see? I got the side-by-side and the thing, but I don't know, man. I need something green screen because I can't live edit. Man. If I could, that'd be cool, man. I'd have like Greeno on standby doing all my live editing, man. The guy like rocks like that. The social plague, man. What's going on, Christy? Lisa? Bogey 708, man. What's going on? Hola. Another thing, I think only one person has ever bought any of my merchandise. They bought a lady's hoodie, man, with my picture on it. I don't know who that is. I don't know what they look like. But I know that me and Puppy would be very pleased to see a picture of somebody in one of our apparels. Maybe like a T-shirt, maybe a woman's T-shirt. Yeah. Think about that. Think about how you'd feel with like Michael J. Cap pointing on the front. Very proud, man. Very, very proud, man. It's the way that I would expect people to feel. Wearing my apparel. Although that's just me and Puppy. I mean, we don't know. Oh, hey, man, Bruce Davis is here. Bruce Davis may be coming out, from my knowledge, and going to the trail. I would like to meet him over there, kind of show him the area. Let's see. Greeno mentioned it last week. You know what? Listen, let me tell you something, man. Like everybody is a mod at my channel, man. I mean, that's real, man. Like if I see somebody here all the time, man, they're a mod, because like if they enjoy the content, why not mod, or at least be named a mod. You ain't got to do anything. Maybe make a boot here and there if MC shows up, but that's it. Hey, man. See, it must be a family thing. You know, it might be a family crew. You know what, man? That would be really cool if you do make it on the next anniversary. It'd be 5 years. Uh, I don't know if, when, anything like that, of course. I mean, I'm not trying to be a psychic, but I do think that of all days in a calendar year, that the 5th-year anniversary would be the prime date for the suspect announcement. That'd give him 3 months to speak to him, all those states, 3 months to interrogate and file charges. They've had 5 years to work on their case. So, they're, what the hell did I get on me? Oh, that's weird. Bizarre. So, they've had 5 years to work on their case. And again, I mean, I think that there's going to be multiple states down there to talk to him. I'd like to see him roll him into one case and give one big announcement of charges. That would be fantastic. That way it isn't just Delphi, but Evanston. It's the whole 9, even out to California, I believe. All should be rolled into that. And if they do it like that, phenomenal, man. Outstanding. So, yeah, man, if you're here for that, that would be fantastic, dude. We should. Yeah, I mean, we should, but that's not saying that it will be on that day. I mean, it could take longer for them to for all the states to go down and question him. Or it could be, say, like the FBI, if they made it federal, that went and talked to him about all the cases, and then had it in one case. But yeah, 3 months, man, that's plenty of time, man. And I think that is like a dead set. I mean, that's just a real date that everybody knows. That's why I kind of suspect that it could be on February 13th. We will find out. That's, geez, let me see. It's about 7-8 months away. It ain't all that long, man, when you've been waiting 5 years. Let me tell you that. Ain't long at all. Oh, yeah. You know what? Totally. Yeah, for real. Because if they do have a press conference, if they do, and I mean, honestly, let me tell you something right now. If it's a press conference, one, we will not be in that press conference. They made sure that the last time. They said, nope, get out. They wasn't having it. And see, here's the thing, man. I didn't understand that because I was on the show talking about what I was going to talk about, my question I wanted to ask. And it had nothing to do with TJB. I wasn't even bringing his name into it. And I know that they didn't want that. But my question was going to be, since it was to the prosecutor, is if he was going to go for the death penalty or not. Now, why would they not want me to ask that? I mean, he's the new prosecutor. He's the guy that would know. He's the guy that could answer that question. Am I right? You see? So, I don't know, man. I really don't. One thing I cannot explain is law enforcement, but they do have my respect when they finally nailed this guy. When they finally drag him in there and they have an explanation for everything. Well, what I mean by that is when I say an explanation for everything, I'm specifically talking about that ain't my number anymore. And it hadn't been for like about 3 months. This is where moderators need to hop in and get rid of them. As soon as you see something like that, get rid of them. If they have a complaint, they'll reach me. I can put them right back on. No problem at all. So anyway, where was I? I forget where I was at. Hang on, man. I probably need a little Dr. Pepper to help remember and stuff. Me? Oh, no. I don't think that that's actually the case at all. Quite contrary. I think when the FBI does your CSI, the crime scene investigation, they know exactly, per second per minute, as to what transpired at the crime scene. They already know that. What they didn't know was whom had done it. They didn't have any way to locate him. And now for 5 years, it will be 5 years on February 13th, of 2022. And in 5 years, let me take that back. 3 years, before that, they knew who. So going into the Delphi briefing, and that's what it was, because it wasn't a press conference. You couldn't ask questions. It was them getting up there and just saying and talking, which was fine, man. And don't take me wrong. I had no issue with that, but I knew, one, it's not a suspect announcement. I knew who the suspect was, and I knew that they knew who it was. So I thought, well, what is with this briefing? What is this going to be about? Well, then when they get up there and they're giving us like a new word, oh, here's pixelated video, and we got a new sketch for you. Yeah, this one right here without a hat that looks younger. That's him. That's the guy we're looking for right here. 18 to 40, probably lives next door to you. That's the shit they need to explain. Right there. Now, I've explained it as they were ending the investigation so that if they got more than what they already had of 70,000 phone calls, and it dealt with the new direction, it was deemed by law enforcement, in knowing that the guy was already behind bars, uninvestigatable, and went in the trash can. That way they didn't have to have like all counties surrounding Carroll County helping investigate every phone call. It ended that. Hey, Kenny. What's going on, dude? So I think that on that day, and when I say that day, and I ain't trying to sound like Kim Riley, what I mean is on that day that they come forward and make the charges, I think, we're really going to find out more. And it won't be right after that. I mean, understand, when they file charges against somebody, they're not really going to tell you exactly everything about the crime. That's got to go to court, because between the time that they announce those charges and the time that they convict a man of those charges, that stuff's secret. They don't want the defense to know about it. You see where I'm at? So it's going to have to wait till that man goes to court until we find out what the circumstances were in Delphi. Because, I mean, that's what really has bothered me the most. It's not what happened at the crime scene. I know what happened at the crime scene. That's why, I've covered this case. 2 little lost girls, happened at the crime scene. So it isn't about like what really happened there. It's more about what happened and what transpired before they got there, because again, I totally assume that he came from the south side, walked out, corralled him back, and was behind him. Because when you're leading somebody somewhere, where do you stand? You don't say, hey, you follow me, because they're going to go, man, I ain't following you. You're behind them. You see where I'm at? You got to be behind them to direct them where to go. Keep going down there, like that. So I think that he came from the south side of the bridge, walked out, met up with them, and then took them back to the south side of the bridge and led them the rest of the way over to the crime scene. Now, if it did not happen like that, and I don't know why it wouldn't happen like that. Hear me out. You got the north side where the trail is, and that's where the girls were going to be. I suspect that what was stated to family by the girls is, no, we ain't going down to the bridge. We're going to go down to 505, man. Just hang out, take pictures, this kind of thing. And I think that that's why it took them that long to get to the bridge. Realize that day they were dropped off at Moon on High Bridge Trail at the secondary entrance at 1:38 p.m. Okay, at 1:38 p.m. is when they were dropped off and began hiking. Now, it was at 2:07 when they got to the second platform on the bridge, which is, oh man, I had that all added up. But let's say that that's like an 8-minute walk. It's less than that from the secondary entrance to the bridge with like I think it's a 2-minute walk to the secondary platform. It's like 7 minutes. So if you take 7 minutes off of 29 minutes, that means that for 22 minutes, they were hiking on the north side. Now, here's my issue with this. They were on the north side that long, doing whatever they do, hiking, taking pictures, whatever. Now, through all of that time, then they get to Monon High Bridge and start crossing it. Now, they're halfway across that bridge at 207. Libby takes a picture of Abby facing northward, where you can see northward behind her on the trail. You can see the trees on Mira's property back behind her to her right-hand side. You can see all behind her. And they continue walking to the south side of the bridge. Now, at that time, you would have to figure that if they got to the south side of the bridge, because he wasn't seen behind him, when they got to the south side is when he would have got to that and started walking across toward them. Now, here's my dilemma. If they had already seen this man on the north side of the bridge and he came off in a threatening, creepy manner, why would they continue on down to the bridge? Now, if they're on the south side of the bridge and here comes this guy walking quickly across the bridge, well, they got all day to get off that bridge and go elsewhere if they thought that he was a threat. They could have called law enforcement, family, anybody to let them know, hey, man, we got this creepy guy that's coming across the bridge. We're sorry we crossed the bridge, but here he is. You know, please call law enforcement, help, tell us what to do. So I don't think that he was on the north side. If he was on the north side, understand, if he wanted to abduct on the north side, he would have took him straight down Mira's property to where he wanted to go. He wouldn't have took him across the bridge and then down and around and across the creek over there. He would have took him from that side straight on across, because from there, looking back, you can tell nobody's coming, straight back to Mira's where he wanted the crime to take place at. So it seems kind of logical that he said on the south side. I say that because I know at 12:30 p.m. he was seen on the south side. You know, so why would he walk over there, be there, and then walk all the way back across the bridge? You know, he could have went over there to kind of scout the area maybe. And I mean, I thought about that. But I think, well, look, man, if you want to see somebody and you're on the south side of the bridge and they come up to it, well, that gives you plenty of time if they come out to walk that bridge to go right out and meet them and hustle them back. That's more about how I see it. Can I swear that? No, I wasn't there. But it's one of the two, and I'm leaning toward the first. Let's see, man. I've seen other people here. Humanimal, Mark Red Wine is... Oh, hang on. Oh, Humanimal. Please don't. Please don't, man. Just don't do that. Yeah, I'll never forget when Greeno came out with Mark Redwine's the Delphi killer. I got a hold of him and I'm like, dude, what? Yeah, he's a truck driver. So he was there. Where? Well, he could have parked at Indiana Packers and walked there. No, he couldn't have. Everybody and their brother would have seen him walking from Packers to there and back. Everybody. Everyone. No way is it Mark Redwine. Period. Not Mark Redwine. No. I mean, I understand. I see what you're saying, but this furthers my contention on this. Look, when somebody says something and it sounds good, we believe it. That's people. They'll believe anything, regardless of evidence. He was a truck driver and he could have parked there and walked down there. So what? If Greeno brought that to my attention today, because normally I mock him for ever bringing it up. I do, literally. And I'm glad you guys don't see that, because it's a pretty harsh mockery. You know, I'm like, yeah, dude, yeah. You know, like I'm on the t-shirt, man, pointing at him. Yeah. You make me look bad. I mean, here I am. Criminal profile extraordinaire. Well, no, wait. Now, see, and I don't ask people to take that side there. I don't. This is what I go for right here. I have laid out my reasoning why it's TJB. And I've asked everybody that watches my channel, right now 71 people, to go fact check what I say. Go look up what I said. See if it doesn't fit what I say it said, what I say it fits. If you do that, I would say that every single person that watched my channel would be over the top, profoundly, yeah, hell yeah, is TJB. Look, man, there's statistics, probability. There are things that match that just should not. Now, in some cases, such as, well, St. Louis calls Carroll County right after his arrest. Okay? And they say, hey, we got a guy. Crap. Yeah, wrong hand. It's all mirrored. We got a guy. He looks like your sketch. He was dressed like Bridge Guy when committing the Catholic Supply Store sexual assault and homicide. And on top of that, Carroll County, he had never been caught committing a crime. He had no DNA or fingerprints to be matched to. Now, what do you think led to them calling Carroll County about that so quickly? I demand that it was his fingerprints. First time he was ever fingerprinted. Very first time ever fingerprinted criminally. What do you think his fingerprints came back on? Everything. Every crime he had ever committed where he left fingerprints, that was looking for a match. They all came back. All of them. His DNA came back for every one where he had left DNA. I can think of 1, 2, 3 cases where I know he left DNA. 3. Now, with that in mind, why would anybody think that Mark Redwine? I mean, he already went to court. He's already been convicted. He already went to court. He was already convicted. If he had shit to do with it, his fingerprints would have matched immediately. They would have been out there talking to him, and charges already would have been filed in Delphi ages ago. Ages ago. Same with Kurtz. Ages ago. He's already convicted. They would have done talked to him and filed those charges long ago now. I told everybody. I told everyone. Him and CE. All of them. Everybody that had a criminal record, I said, they are not it. Because I know at 100%, this guy had never got caught committing a crime before. First time he is, bing, bing, then it comes forward. But they can't go talk to him. You know that. You must know that because I say it all the time. They can't go down and talk to him. It's in a different state. The guy's in there on first-degree murder. First-degree murder. Very serious charges that should have incorporated the death penalty. But, of course, they didn't do that. They didn't want to hurt his feelings or, be as bad as he is or, whatever shit it is. So, anyway, I need to gather myself. It's been a long day. Been a real long day. Yeah, it's chilly, too. I don't like chili. So anyway, if you look at everything that I put out, everything on TJB, and I will get to that in this series because I'm going to have my own piece concerning him. Because me and Greeno are always calling the suspect. That's it. Unless it's a person of interest. We're talking suspect, but we're not giving any names. But when we bring that name into it, him and I will sit and discuss everything that I know on him. And you can weigh it out yourself at that time because I have given enough. You know what? Let me put it to you like this. I'm a Columbo fanatic, man. I am. I love Columbo. Columbo and Sherlock Holmes. I've watched every one of them. Probably 10 times. Well, maybe not every Sherlock Holmes 10 times, but minimally at least 5. I mean, because I like the way that they think. I like the way that they look at stuff. I like the way that they break things down. Now, here's the thing. I was watching Columbo the other night. And Columbo says, you know what? He says, I have a mountain of circumstantial evidence. He goes, and it all points to the same guy. But what I don't have is the proof. He goes, You know, because you can make a case for anybody circumstantially, but those circumstances must fit the person you're talking about. You know, I can't say, well, this guy, he didn't work that day and he lives locally. He looks like him. And I mean, he's a little mad. I mean, he comes off a little weird. You can ask anybody. Well, people would say, well, yeah, it could be him, you know, right? Right. But the thing is, I mean, when everything matches, it ain't the look. It ain't just the looks. It ain't his dress. It ain't the fact that he had never been fingerprinted before. It ain't the fact that, you know, it's that all of this matches. Now, wait, let's look at this. You got a sadistic serial killer. And I'm not saying him. Sorry. Got to remember, it's always the other hand. I'm not saying that it's him. But what I'm saying is, you got a sadistic serial killer. Do you know what the odds are of a person being raised and becoming a sadistic serial killer? It's about 1 in, I want to say 6 million, something like that. 1 in 3 to 6 million to 1. Now, let's look at that, man. There's 500,000 or 500 million people, you know, on in America. So if you break that down, it'd be like, well, you know what? It's really, wow. So anyway, when you look at it, it's just statistically odd that A, you're going to have a guy commit a crime like that, look like this guy, dress like that guy. Now, I say the fingerprints were there, but law enforcement's never going to say that. They will never say that. They will have a briefing and talk about everything else and try to make you believe, oh, yeah, guy's hiding in plain sight, this, that, and the other, but know who he is. But the simple fact is, it just doesn't happen. Look at the odds, man, right there with Evansdale and Delphi, with the similarities, the reversible dates, small trails, small towns, next to a highway, 2 girls abducted in the daytime, 16 crimes committed like that in the daytime with minor girls abducted since 1974. Over half of them have been solved. Evansdale and Delphi are not. Now, I say, well, he was unemployed through that time. He had lost a long-term job 1 month before both of those crimes. Then go look at the profile for the Evansdale killer. What did the FBI say? This guy may be in financial straits. He may have just lost a job. He may be having mental problems through this month. But I'm going to ask you, anybody that would murder 2 little girls, do they have a mental problem? Yeah, I don't think it comes and goes. You know, I don't think one day they're just fine, the next they want to go do that. Of course they got mental problems, you know? Oh, yeah. Thank you, man. You know what? Very true. But that is Eastern time. Okay? Look at it like this. What time did Evansdale happen? It happened between 1 and 2. Okay? Central time, which is between 2 and 3 Eastern time. Okay? When did Delphi happen? Between 2 and 3 Eastern time. Same time. Same exact time. Through the same hours when it happened. That's bizarre as shit, too. When you look at all the statistics, man, and you look at everything that they're looking for, and you really carry this out, and you follow everything that I've said on this guy and how he's this guy, and like literally, they drew that sketch almost right off of his face. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. That is almost right off of that guy's face, man. Just like the lady that was walking her dog sit down with the state agent and started having him draw, man. That's the way I look at it. What does 32 mean? Well, you know what? It may not have to do with 32. I'm not saying that it does or it don't. But I kind of look at it like this. If you have 5 digits that are exactly alike, okay, like 7, 13, 12, and then you turn it around 2, 13, 17. Well, those 5 digits are exactly alike. So, of course, both of them are going to equal 32. But then if you look at it from the time that they reversed from Evansdale, you could add 5 years and minus 7 months. And you got, you see, add 5 years to it and then subtract 7 months and you get the date of Delphi. Same way. It's weird. But I don't know that he put that much thought into it. I think that, and I really don't know what was up with Evansdale. I mean, was it a day where life was kicking him? You know, he was down, man. He's without some money, man. He wants to go commit this crime. You know, he wants to go out there and commit a crime of brutality to make himself feel good. Did he travel out there to do that? Or was he traveling and it just occurred? Because that day, whether or not he set that day to be the day, and it was Friday the 13th, and I know that had to cross his mind. I know that had to have been something that was there, like, yeah, well, today's going to be real bad for somebody, you know. But I have to wonder because, like, 5 years later, on the very reverse of that day, and a date can only reverse once every 100 years. Once every 100 years. So on the reverse of that day, that one day in 100 years, there's Delphi. Now, I know he drove to Delphi to commit that crime. He did that because it was the reverse date of Evansdale. But I don't know if he went to Evansdale to do that because it was a small trail and he thought that maybe he could carry it out. You know, I don't know. Or if he was traveling north and stopped in Evansdale, and then it happened by happenstance. And then that set for the second day, with, or the reverse date with Delphi. One to the other. Mike at Criminal Profiling and Chris McDonough at the interview room, both cold case experts, needs to hear what Cass has to say. Thank you. And let me see if I can. Oh, shit, man. What in the hell am I doing? Oh, I see. Hold on a second. Let me go get my name up there. There we go. Ooh, big and large ass print. Okay. Oh, yeah, I can't, man. Crap. Because when I mouse over mine, it says show. But I want to remember that. Profiling Evil in the interview room. I'll go check out their websites. I mean, I like True Crime Garage TV. I really do. But look, man, when somebody goes to your channel and rips off every single thing you say and do and does not even mention your name, it leaves a pit in your stomach. It really does. They mentioned Greeno. Oh, yeah, Greeno's done great work. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know all that information didn't come from Greeno. No, it came from me, including the clip he said, oh, I think this is a news clip. But when Trooper Kim Riley said that they could find no traces of them, no, that immediately made me think that they had fingerprints. Yeah, I bet it did, thief. I bet it did. Like mocking my very words, man. Now that shit hurts, man, but I do give it to them. They do use true fact. Now, I'm at least happy they went to me to get true fact. I mean, that should stand out. That should be fucking evident. But yeah, man, parts 1 and 2 of Off the Record, man, was all just right off my channel. Almost every word except for when they was talking about persons of interest. They had no inside knowledge on Daniel Nations. Don't even know if they really brought him up. They brought him up, but they kind of surfaced over it a little bit, and well, it's too early to know. Apparently, you guys don't investigate. I think you guys just listen to other people's shit and carry on with it. Fucking does you well, man. Hope you guys are making big YouTube money over there. Thieves. Well, no. It's not the point. You know what? In life, it is not your brains that will get you through. If you are good looking, if you are a good looking person, you can do anything you want. It's a fact. People will hire you to do anything. Yeah, brains. Well, yeah, but we want this look. It's the way people are. And this is why me and Greeno do well. Because he's the editor, man. He's the guy that can do that shit, man. He's the reporter. He's that guy. He's the dude. He's the face. Hey, Connor. Man, Connor Alliance. Man, what's going on, dude? How do research when can? Yeah, well, copyright. See, man, I got a copyright on all of that. I do. I have a common law copyright on every deduction. I put up 128 of them that I had totally recorded under common law copyright. But I wouldn't do that. I mean, I was happy that they talked about my information, but it's like a name? You know, don't leave it out there like you guys just came up with this shit, like it was just you. Bullshit. That's my issue. That's where it really bothers me. And I ain't trying to make money off of that, man. I just think, I mean, it's common courtesy. Look, man, if I come on here spitting out somebody's information and I didn't tell you where it came from, that'd make me a thief. Sorry, but it's true, man. Take me with you, Alley Cat. I'll have a big yacht one day. We'll all go party. Can't wait. You know what? WKAT, man, for real. You know, we would like to put that series on WKAT, I think. The only issue with that is that it has over 1,000 subscribers, but it doesn't have 3,500 hours of watch time. I guess I could ask everybody to go put on WKAT and just like let it keep playing WKAT. You know, if all 86 of you did it, you know, I'd have that much by tomorrow, maybe. Hard to say. You know, I'd be like, no, 12 hours a piece. But then we could put it on WKAT in one big long series. So I'm thinking about that. I think that the way we're looking at it is kind of like this. He's going to make part one from the first discussion, the first 48 hours. And then he's given that to me, but we're going to put it up on both of our channels. But on both of our channels, it's going to be unmonetized, but we're going to premiere it. Now, what that means is like it's a 2-hour video where we can be right there while you guys watch it. So if there's any questions while it's rolling, we can be there to answer them. So I think that that's the best that we've came up with, you know, and I hope that that works for everybody, because I can't have him edit it and then put it on my channel, but I can't, you know, because it really is a collaboration. You know, it's a good question. And I mean, it's kind of lengthy to answer. Friday the 13th, the reason that it got its superstition as a bad luck day was because on October Friday the 13th, and I forget the year, I know it was King Philip of France, he had all of the, let me think, trying to draw a blank because I'm thinking here. The Knights Templar. He had them arrested and all their possessions taken along with their notes and everything because he deemed them like enemies of the state, so on and so on. So from that day forward, it was always put forward that Friday the 13th was a bad luck day. Now, if for him to go out on Friday the 13th and purposely bring someone bad luck, one. Now, two, on top of that, very odd indeed. His original court date was set for October the 13th, the same day I'm talking about, but it wasn't a Friday. But it was still October the 13th, and I'm like, okay, that's bizarre. You know, what's that shit about? So it led me to think, well, maybe the guy is a Mason. Now, second to that, man, you have the traffic pullover. Now, here's how the traffic pullover went. You have him, and he's really upset. Now, I feel he's upset for multiple reasons. Multiple. One being C.C. Moore. He felt because in July of that year, in July of 2018, it was put out in the news that Carroll County investigators were using the same technology as what got John D. Miller in Fort Wayne, you know, with the genealogical DNA, trying to find the family and, you know, break it down to the person. Well, He's got DNA in there. His family does. All of his emails begin with proud Scotsman. Now, Scotsman could also be Scottish Rite, which would mean 33rd degree. Okay, don't know, but Robert the Bruce was King of Scotland, so it could go either way. Now, he's pulled over by wait, let me get back to that. So he's going down the highway, and he's upset, and he's driving like a maniac down the highway. He's acting like such an idiot while driving that people are calling law enforcement and saying, hey, we got a man out here driving like a madman. Now, he pulled in front of a guy who had on a Catholic, I think it was a Notre Dame t-shirt. He slams on his brakes and has this guy hit him in the ass. Okay. Now, law enforcement shows up, and he's standing out there saying, he hit me in the ass. Why are you asking me for a breathalyzer? He's the one that did it. Okay. Now, he's out there. He also said, you work for me. I don't work for you. Yeah, because I pay your taxes, MFer. I mean, this guy was all over the map. Angry. Very, very angry. Now, how can you be that drunk, cause an accident, driving like a madman, and then be allowed to go home? Well, I don't know how it works. If it was me, I'd still be behind bars. Now, you say, well, why would the guy just let him go home? I mean, on the news, they said something about, well, yeah, but they said that was only a part of it. I mean, that was only a part of it. The guy was drunk as hell. What they do, give him a breathalyzer and go, no, you're fine to drive home? I mean, like, I don't really know. But it does make me believe that there could be a little masonry there. Because, look, if you're a Mason and you're a high-ranking Mason and all cops literally are Masons, you know, they're probably going to let you go. If a man goes to court and he is a Mason and you got a Mason on that jury, you're walking. You're out of there because he knows you're a Mason and he will not find you guilty. That is how the Masons work. That's how they operate. How do you go home when you have something like that happen? Well, you better be a Mason. So it kind of says to me that it's possible. Now, I never asked him if he was a Mason. You know, I don't think in one of my letters I ever mentioned that he was a Mason. But I did say it made me believe that he very well could be, because there was avenues and times that he should have been arrested and he would have been caught. Like there at the traffic stop, man, if he had been arrested, he would have been caught right there, right then. He did not have to take the Catholic supply store. Had he been arrested that night, you know, the Catholic supply store wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have, you know. So, I don't know. Makes me think Mason. Well, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. But I don't think I was talking specifically this crime. Let me kind of rephrase that a bit, sweet Anna. In regards to driving down the highway, or if, you know, burglary, anything of that nature, any kind of crime. Now, I'm not talking about going out and committing a murder like this on minor kids. You know, as I would assume after his arrest that he would be booted from the Mason and, you know, would be found guilty. You know, and I'm not saying that, you know, they would go in and kill him because he was a Mason. They would just excuse him from the Masons. You know, that way it wouldn't mean crap if he did or didn't. I mean, they would still find him. Oh, yeah. I'm on board with you there. As, you know, it goes. Maybe even higher, a 33rd to my knowledge. I haven't talked to him about that in quite some time. All right. And you know what? Really, books on Masonry, because I've read many of them, many. Because there are a lot of parts of Masonry that are just really are good. I mean, you know, I don't find anything bad in a person being a Mason. I really don't. I don't see that a person being a Mason makes them a bad person. I know a lot of Masons, and almost all of them are good people. But the thing is I mean, like 1 out of every so many million, you know, predator, sexual killer, you know, serial killer, They go on to do bad things because it is the genetics and the way that they were raised. The Masons didn't say go do that. Now, let me take it a bit further than that. He was a preacher, okay? A preacher. Now, I think that anybody, and it's probably the most of us that have been to church, no church-going people, they're not people that would go do something like that. You would never see anybody or probably meet anybody that you would know that would say, oh, yeah, that person would go do that, because that's outside of the norms of mankind. We don't see that as what humans would go do. Now, if you're a preacher, and your family's Christian, where you was brought up under Christianity, are you not? Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, Sally Cat. He was down in Jackson County, Missouri, for a while, at least a year or two. Now, if you're raised in Christianity, and I know kids that are now adults they were raised Christian, you can't really discuss anything where they don't point to it being God. Well, God plays, because they're raised like that. It's put into their mind that God is, all these things and, so forth like that. Understandable. And I'm not talking bad about that. But what I'm saying is that he would fall into that category. I believe that he was raised Christian, went on to be a Christian preacher for a couple of years. Now, why would a guy who was a Christian preacher that all of his friends said was a real likable guy, super dude, really great friend, man, honorable, loving, caring, always willing to help another, even his neighbors said that, hey, the guy was a great guy, man. He always stopped by to say hi, check on to see how we was doing. Everybody thought of him as a great guy. Now, what would be inside of his mind that would compel him to go brutalize and hurt females of any and all ages when he could, when he had been drinking? What would influence that? Well, it had to be maybe, because I always think that genetics plays in some part. I'll give an example. You could take 100 kids and raise them all to be, not by telling them to be, but by raising them in a way where they would become serial killers. And probably not a one of them would actually go off to become a serial killer. It's extraordinarily rare. But if you have somebody with the genetics and then the upbringing that would create a serial killer that was raised Christian, I think that the one thing that would be in their mind is it's a dark entity. It's a dark spot in them. It's a dark hole that pulls them into it, and being Christian, they would have to portray that as being a dark entity, if you see where I'm at. Now, I had heard where Robert Ives, the prosecutor, the ex-prosecutor of Carroll County, had said that there was physical items, at least 3. Now, in one interview, he said non-secular, meaning spiritual. Well, if you have somebody that leaves spiritual clues, spiritual physical clues at a crime scene, who was a preacher and raised, again, this is another key to it that makes me believe, yeah, it's him. But I think that he was dealing with the dark entity, not a real dark entity, one in his mind, one that he had to believe was there. This dark entity that he had to appease or whatever, by doing this, because it wasn't just minor kids. There's an 83-year-old, a 77-year-old, a 52-year-old, a 24-year-old, a 9, 11, 13, 14-year-old. If we was to add Suzanne Collins, which I put in as a maybe, but if Barry Sheck was right and he was at that base, he would have been primary suspect number 1. And I would have said, with that kind of brutality, you're probably looking right there at the man that did it. Now, even at that, she was 24. The guy has no concept about what age. He's just female. If you are a female and I can humiliate you, torture you, hurt you, see that pain and anguish and humiliation on your face, and then brutalize you, this man's happy. And that does not come out of a Christian family. Never. Except one in those rare circumstances. Now, somebody thinks I'm sitting here saying all this. No, seriously. Because the biggest joke in the world would be me if it came out and it was not him. I wasted 3 years of my life telling you it was him. 3 years of my life was sitting here, repeating and telling you that it's been him this whole time. Ever since February 13th of 2017, he's been the guy that did it. It was him. So I'm not going to sit here and do that. I'm not wishfully dreaming. I'm not sitting here, oh, I found a couple of little things and I'm just going, yeah, on that. No. Quite contraire, mon frere. Not even close. I found everything. And after a while, it became quite evident that everything just packaged into one tidy little box. And his name was TJB. And that's exactly who did it. Now, I discussed his route. I mean, the guy moved from Flint, Michigan in Genesee County. Now, he moved from there down to Jackson County, Missouri. Here's where it gets odd. Hold on. Grab a drink. He moves from Flint, Michigan, approximately 2002 to 2003, right in that area. From Flint down to Jackson County. That's where he was preaching. I think he lived there for a year or two in that area. Now, at the same time, serial killings start there in St. Louis, East St. Louis. Okay. Now, they didn't know this for a long, long while because these women were prostitutes. Now, they had an area where you could go down and get a prostitute, and it was called the Stroll. It was the area of abandoned houses and this and that where you could go to, have sex, do what you're going to do, take the lady back or whatever, however that flies. I don't go buy a prostitute every day. So I'm thinking, what does a man do? I mean, this guy, man, quite clearly in a county of Genesee. Now, I'm talking little bitty, tiny, dinky towns like Burlington, man, which is around 400. Linden was 400. One bar town. And right across the highway, right there in that town, lived Mary Pryor, 83 years old. Little bitty, tiny, inky dinky little town where everybody seriously knows everybody in that town. And everybody knew Mary Pryor. She's a great lady, Catholic. Went to the thing every day, man, to the church. Every day. Everybody loved her. Now, when she was found raped, killed, strangled in her backyard, man, it was actually like 200 yards from her house, behind her house. Everybody said, my God, who in the hell would have done that to that sweet old lady? You got to tell us whom, because we don't know we can trust our neighbors. Who would have done that to her? Now, when that case was brought to me, I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, sounds like him. it does. It's very brutal. And like, who in the love of God would do that? You got DNA and fingerprints. Right there, law enforcement, DNA and fingerprints. They have that. But there wasn't a person to match it to, because apparently the guy had never got caught committing a crime. They had no DNA or fingerprints to match to. 2 years later, same county, little bitty town, Montrose. Population about 1,000. At that time, it was a one-bar town. Now I think it has 2. That's the hometown of this guy right there. A little bitty podunk town up Michigan. 1,000 people. That's where he was brought up, right there in Montrose. Now, 2 o'clock in the morning, the bar is closed. He's there with his friends, drinking the way he likes to drink, because it seems in every incident he's been drinking. He's there drinking. He gets up, he leaves. It's 2 o'clock. The bar is closed. And see you guys later. Peace. Blah, 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 blah. He goes traveling down Highway 58, heading back to Flint. Forget how long it had been, like 12 miles, something like that. He goes heading back home. Well, Ann Paces broke down on the highway. And he sees that. Okay, here's this lady, man. She broke down, man. Better stop, right? Stop, see if I can lend her a hand. Well, she was driving from Saginaw to Montrose. So I'm sure as the conversation went, not a problem at all, man. You know what? I got to run a couple things right up the road and we'll turn right back around and give you a ride where you need to be. We'll get you some help. Got in the car. They found her dead the next morning. Neck sliced open, sexually assaulted, and killed. DNA and fingerprints. But just like 2 years prior, 12 miles down the road at Lennon, they had DNA and fingerprints, but these two had no match. No match for fingerprints and DNA, meaning this guy had never been arrested before. He had no DNA or fingerprints to be matched to. He was living right there in Flint. You can verify all this. Oh, get out. No way. For real? You're not lying to me, man. Right? Right? Let me know. Chris G. No way. No way in hell. No way. No. Hell no. But anyway, let me get back to this. So a serial killing picks up in East St. Louis. Prostitutes are, they're missing. But I mean, when prostitutes missing, this is why serial killers always go for them. If they come up missing, well, they ain't turned in. I mean, a pimp ain't gonna say, hey, one of my bitches is gone, man. I don't know where she went. Probably thinks ran off and doing tricks somewhere else. That's normally a case. So I think that's what he did. He went out, got a prostitute, humiliated her, did all of his normal dirty deeds, killed her, brutalized her. But what he did was he left the bodies in abandoned houses. Now, it took a while until these bodies turned up, but it was so far after the time of death. You see where I'm at? But then they started to realize that, okay, all these bodies are like right here locally in these abandoned houses. So then they put it together and they say, this looks like the act of a serial killer. However, those serial killings stopped. Okay? They stopped after a time. So it wasn't that they ever caught that serial killer, but it remains. That's the same time that he moved down there. And he lived right there around that St. Louis area. So it makes me wonder, was it not he that was doing that as well? They never gave a cause of death or anything like that. It's very much like California. I can go look at California's like missing, unsolved, this and that. And man, it's just nothing but a list. And everything you look at gives very little specifics. You don't know anything about the crime. California, it's like if you go out to Los Angeles County, if you do, it's like crimes like this happen all the time. I mean, it's almost, not like day to day, maybe exactly, but it's all the time. But in Delphi, Indiana, it happened one time, because it's a little town. This guy, he don't really care. He don't really care about the amount of people. I think he likes small towns. And I don't know why. It seems quite obvious that if you want to get away with murder like that, you go to a big city and do it. It always seems the general way of it. Ted Bundy, Seattle. Gary Ridgway, this is like St. Mary Green River, like that. BTK, that's like, man, you know what? It's kind of John Wayne Gacy, Dahmer. All of these people are really from big cities, where they have like a selection of people. But if you go out and to a little bitty podunk town, what makes somebody a victim to you? Like, why Mary Pryor? I believe that he knew Mary Pryor, not personally, one-on-one, but he knew who she was. He had seen her. People talked of her. It's a little town. You're sitting in a bar with your friends. Certainly everybody there in town knows her. So I believe that he at least knew of her. Now, I don't know what his issue is with Catholics. I really don't. And I asked him about that in my last letter. Now, they had a Catholic school and they were kind of a rival in the same way the school I went to, Caston, had North Miami as its rival. But you wouldn't think that a high school rival team would piss you off toward all Catholics. You know, it wouldn't seem like that at all. Now, I also went looking in other areas just because I was out of areas. Montrose, Michigan, where he grew up, sits right there, man, on the Flint River. Right on the Flint River. I thought, Michigan, trains. So, man, I wonder where locally, right there along the Flint River, you got a railroad bridge. So I looked at it. 3 miles. 3 miles north of Montrose is a railroad bridge crossing the Flint River. 3 miles from where he lived. 3 miles up the road. Three little miles, man. So, you know, and again, I mean, would that matter? Does it matter? I don't think he went there just because there was a railroad bridge. I don't believe that. You know, I don't believe that any of it really was. I don't even know. Well, I can say this. If you got a trail, chances are it's got a creek or a lake, one or the other. You know, normally speaking, trails have creeks or lakes right there by them. So that might be a reason. Now, another reason is okay, he had to get rid of the bodies, you know, in Evansdale. Now, I was thinking a little bit different than the way that it happened. Allow me to expand upon that. Well, in fact, allow me to demonstrate what I'm talking about. I'm going to go pull this up, and I want you guys to see this. Quick second while I pull it up, man. All right. And we'll get back over here. We'll share. Yeah, that's right. My computer screen. Yeah, totally. And with audio, if you don't mind. There we go. Bullseye. All right. Let me get rid of my Michael J. Cat. Yeah, see. Things you got to do. All right. Now, let me get over here. Here is Evansdale. Circle. Right there in red, I guess, or whatever color. Now, we focus in right here. This is Myers Lake. And this is where the trail, you can see the trail where it goes around, then comes up to here. And I believe this is Gilbert Drive right here. It is right here. And this is where the trail goes back out to where the car was seen. Now, that was a, look at me when I'm talking to you. That was an older style boxy Suburban that was white. Now, that's in 2012. So the best that people can come up with, they said like an old Bronco, a Jeep Cherokee, something like that. That's the kind of car that 3 people had seen there at that time. That's not saying that it's the suspect's car, but that's the car that they were on the lookout for. Nobody claimed to have had that car, so they believe it is suspect. Nobody's seen the suspect, okay? Nobody's seen him. Now, the girls, and it says on the eastern side, which would be right here, this is where their bikes were found, and their purse and their cell phone, or not their bikes. Their purse, cell phone, stuff like that was found here. And I think that the bikes were up here by this right here, like they had come there and then walked down, and then was taken back to the vehicle. Now, I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking like, here's the deal. In Evansdale, they said, well, we think that the guy's local, exactly like Delphi, exactly like Delphi. They said, we think that he's local because nobody really knew of Seven Bridges Park. You know, it was very isolated, you know, and only people that had hunted there or fished, anything like that in the past, would really know that it was there. Well, that may be. It may be. But now in 2012, because, I mean, like, hell, I'd lived here for, God, like 4 years at that time. I mean, you had internet, but I don't know that it needed internet, you know, to literally find that. But let's get back to the, Man, I got to do this again. Okay, like that. So I went from here, Myers Lake, actually from here. Let me go to there, pull out directions. Let me get directions from there to Seven Bridges Park. Bam. Now, this is the directions from there to Seven Bridges County Park, right there. Now, I thought it was way far up there. I knew it was only 25 miles, you know, like right in that area. This right here says 22, 19, 21. But that right there, if you leave right here and you go straight up, bam, you're right there. Now, that made me kind of wonder, because I thought that he had to travel a lot further than that. I never really did directions because I thought, well, you go out, you know, he committed the crime somewhere and then took him there and dropped him. Now I look at it a little bit different. Well, it's just up the road. It ain't that far. He's driving through the country. You know, I think that keeping the girls hidden through that time, probably not a big, you know, issue for him. Now, let's pull right up here to Seven Bridges Park. Now, this don't have it exactly the same way as the other one does. But what had happened was the person pulled into here, down to here, and took the bodies down here. And right here is where the bodies were found. Right there. They were down in a little cavity. The hunters that was walking by, like, said that unless you was walking like right there beside it and looked down, you never would have seen them, you know. But it was the two skeletons of two little girls, you know. But I mean, they didn't know they were girls, but they knew they were young people. So I think that what transpired was he abducted them, and in all likelihood took them here and down to here, committed the crime, and then left them there. You know, because it's very isolated. There was nobody there, nobody that was going to hear or see anything in the like same way. So after they had found the girls and identified them, you know, at Seven Bridges Park, a local trapper that was right there said that somewhere in the vicinity of around that area where the girls were found, he found a knife stuck in a tree. Think about that. Think about that, man. He found a knife stuck in a tree. Well, in Delphi, Indiana, Robert Ives has told us that there's minimally 3 signatures in Delphi at the crime scene. I could believe, because this guy knew that his fingerprints and DNA were safe from being matched to. He would leave a murder weapon. Why wouldn't he? What's he afraid to leave his fingerprints? They already got him from multiple other crimes. They can't be matched to. But they could match that crime to other ones that he's done. You see where I'm at? So I don't know that he didn't leave a knife. He may have. On top of that, this guy here, he filed bankruptcy 1 month before Delphi. On January 11th of 2017, he filed bankruptcy, resigned from his job, because he failed to show up there after that. Now, so he was free and unemployed during Delphi and ready to make that trip. Don't know the car, but I know that he drove up here from St. Louis. Why? Because if you look at the route from St. Louis to Fort Wayne, it gives you I-70 and the Hoosier Heartland. Now, who likes to go down highways looking for small trails? This man right here. Now, he knew of Monon High Bridge Trail, had been there many times, probably used it like a rest area. Pull over, get out, take a little hike, stretch your legs, and he probably said to himself, you know what? This is a small trail. Not many people hike it. If you see somebody hiking it, it's kind of rare. I mean, if somebody does hike by, you probably ain't going to see somebody else for another hour or two. You know, it's rarely used. So where do you go to seek opportunity? To a trail like that. Because if somebody walks by that you want to victimize, you can grab them right there and lead them to where you want them to go, commit that crime, and then leave, probably without anybody else seeing you. So I think that that's why he set his mind like, I'm going to Delphi. But with that in mind, is that the same way he did Evansdale? Did he said, I'm going to the small trail in Evansdale where I could maybe pull this off. That's what comes to my mind, because I know Delphi was already pre-established. He was going to go do that. He didn't know who, but he went there to do that. But I don't know that it was the same as Evansdale. Evansdale, he could have been traveling and it just happened. Or because he was in financial problems, I think that it was the time that he was looking and may have went there. On Friday the 13th. That remains unknown. See, and again, I got to do the mod's job. I got to do it. Mods, I have one demand. Get rid of them and don't let me have to see it. If I don't have to see it, life goes on. Thank you. How did the first what? Yeah, I don't believe that at all. Sleuth, intuition, not even. No, I done banned him. It's game over there, Connor. How did the first come across the trail? Are you saying how did he first come across the trail? Let me go do this, man. Let me pull this right back up here. I got to go all the way back out. All right. Nope, not even close. All right. Yeah, can't even pull it up. Can't even get it to pull up. Or at least correctly. It's because it was part of the directions. I don't know, man. Maybe he wasn't here a couple of minutes ago when I covered this. It's kind of the way that it goes. Every time I say something, somebody asks, like, well, how did that happen? Well, I thought I just explained it. Yeah. It's part of the directions. If you go from St. Louis to Fort Wayne, now the reason I say Fort Wayne is because he's got a brother that lives there, a close brother. He goes to Fort Wayne, and then you take the highway straight north up to Montrose. Boom, there it is. Okay. Now, how many times do you feel that he drove from St. Louis back to Montrose? Over 20 years. I'm going to say a bunch of times. And we'll say a bunch of times he went back to see his family. I know he went to some St. Louis Cardinal games with his family. All of this, he was back and forth seeing his family. Now, is he going to take I-70? Or, being a sadistic serial killer, is he going to take the it's not really longer. It's not really a longer route. You just don't get to go as fast. So it makes it seem a little longer. I think it's actually less long taking the Hoosier Heartland than it is I-70. I-70, you go down around Indianapolis and go north, whereas the Hoosier Heartland, you cut kind of straight across like that. But on a small remote highway, that's where you find small trails. Now, this man is not a stalker. He don't see a lady and go, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till just the right time, and I'm going to go break in. I'm going to sadistically do what I want to her. contrary. You know, very different from other serial killers that do that. They stalk their victims. You know, that's what they do. They'll stalk and they'll wait and they'll you know, they get very mental about that. This guy wasn't. He was more of a man of opportunity. If he had been drinking and he was in that mood, you know, where that mood could occur, and then it happened to cross his way, Mary Pryor, Ann Pates, you see where I'm at? Then he would pursue it, because there it was. Wasn't anybody around. There wasn't anybody know. You see where I'm at? So that's why he would go do that. Now, the same thing with small trails. Well, where do you go to find the victim? Well, let's see. If you go to a small trail that's kind of really lacking in the amount of people that hike around it, well, you can kind of pick out a person that you want. Hey, come here, you know, by whatever means, be it like, I'm with law enforcement, come here, you know, or your mom's looking for you guys, man, you know, come with me. I think it's your mom, you know, something like that, where you can get them to comply and follow you and get in your vehicle. You know, that's probably the nature of the way that the guy was doing it. So I think that that's how it came about. He had stopped at one on High Bridge Trail en route to Montrose, Fort Wayne, and maybe stopped there on his way back. He had probably been there many times, many times. I mean, he knew the trail in its area. It's a 15-minute walk. This is what people don't get. If you want to see that trail, get out there, look at it. It will give a whole new perception to this case. I guarantee it. Nobody has ever went out to that trail and not looked at me at some time or another and said, wow, you know what? This changes everything that I was really thinking. I thought it was way bigger than this. People do. It ain't that big. 15-minute walk. That's it. Well, you walk down to the bridge and you follow the same trail back. You know, that's it. One trail down, one trail back. That's literally the height of that trail. It's just where the train tracks used to be, from that bridge to that bridge. That's it. That's all that it is. That's the trail. So I think that he had stopped there quite a few different times. I mean, he knew where it was, and that's what put in his mind. I can go there, just like Evansdale, and wait. I can wait because somebody will show up, somebody that I can victimize, and I know where I'm going to take him and what I'm going to do and how I'm going to leave. It was already pre-established in the man's mind. That's that. That's the way I look at it. Well, thank you, Kenny. it's really nice. It's true, though. And that's another thing that me and Greeno talk about, you know, is that everything that was within this case, everything, there is not, aside of what's been withheld from the public, there is not anything that we do not know or have not deduced between the two of us. It was first 2 years, the very first 2 years, like 24/7 conversation. That was it. Any piece of evidence, anything that we knew, anything that we could uncover, that would deliberately become the cause of conversation, to work through it, look at it from every angle, you know, see what we could draw out of that. You know, we've done interviews. We've talked to the people. We went to press conferences. We've talked to law enforcement. We talked to Sheriff Lesenby. You know, we've heard everything that they've had to say, everything. We know DNA, fingerprints. You know, we got all of that. Him and I. And today, man, it's a different world, man. It's like, you know, pushing 5 years later, the whole world's into true crime now. Literally. Everybody's got like a true crime channel. And I told him, man, it's like, you know, we started that, man. It was you and me. We started that whole thing, you know, with Delphi, because it's what pulled people into it. People said, yeah, you know, I do want this guy arrested. I do want to know who did this. I want this guy locked up, man. This is monstrous. I mean, like, you know, who would do that? And it pulls people right in because they want the guy caught. And again, I go back. You know, it's like a long time ago. If I had an identical brother that was the closest person in the world to me, and him and I were cops, Carroll County cops, man, just Carroll County cops. And I knew that my brother had went out and did that. Deduced it, or however you want to put it. I would go to my brother and I would say, dude, you know what, man? I love you and you know I love you. And anything I wouldn't do for you, those two girls are never going home. That has to have amends, man. You know, you got to take that guilt. You have to live with that, and you got to do it behind bars. There's no way you can turn your back on that. And people still believe, you know, there are people out there that believe, well, law enforcement did it, and that's why they're covering it up. It wouldn't make a shit. The FBI don't give a crap if you're a law enforcement. If you go kill two little girls, you're fucking hit. Period. Nobody's going to cover that because it was some little podunk law enforcement guy. Nobody. And anybody that would is as treasonous and bullshitty and as the person that did it. And they would know that. So, no, when I hear people say it's law enforcement, man, I normally mark them off as just another troll, a know-nothing, somebody that wants to act like they know shit, but they just ain't got a fucking clue. That's how I think about it, man. Really is. Yeah, you know what? Somebody told me that. Oh, shit. I made myself large. Wow, man, I look bigger. Oh, my gosh, like looking in a mirror. No, somebody told me that. They said, man, I got turned on to your channel and I was watching you. But they're like, you seem like a guy I could get along with, man. And like, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I take that. Well, that's cool. I mean, I try to come off like that. I mean, I'm sure I'm no different than what I am right here, but look, man, my 55 years, I've been everywhere, man. You know, I can talk about anything. But it's just like on my old channel, I had 8,700 subscribers. It was like 3 times larger than this channel. You know, and I was doing something completely different. And then Delphi happened. Now, I took priority. I mean, that took everything, man. I pissed a lot of people off of my old channel because I kept covering Delphi rather than what I normally covered. But Delphi took precedence. And this is like right up the street from my dad's house, man. This is like right there where Amber Green got hung. This is like right there in Carroll County where I've done time. Greeno's done time. You know, we know that town. We know that county. We know the people, you know. We knew everything except for one little bitty iota, you know, and that's where the trail was. Him and I off to go was like, where in the hell's that? Didn't even know it was there. There's a trail there, you know, because people don't talk about that trail. Either A, they're going to that little trail or they're not, but you don't just find out about one day like, hey, there's a little trail here. Let's go walk down it. You know, it's just kind of out of the way and it's a little trail. You probably wouldn't. You'd have to do a little bit of walking to get there. But in the end of this, I mean, when it does come forward, well, you know, one other point. I don't know who said it. I really don't know who said it, and I'm sure somebody will know. But one of the cops said, you're going to be very surprised when we come out with who did it. And I'm like, why would you say that? You know, why would you say that? Because to say that would be the same as saying we already know who did it and you're going to be really shocked. Well, they wouldn't say that if they knew who did it. They would never say anything like that. I think the only reason that they said that was because they knew the person had never committed a crime before. And it's going to be a shock to those people when they find out that this guy had done that. Now, that would apply across the board, but I don't think that it would be like, you know, I mean, I could give some like big name guy in Delphi, you know, something like that, or like the chief of police done it or something, you know, it ain't like that. You know, it ain't anything like that, man. and again, man, like with the shack and so on, you know, people put so much onto this, like cops are trying to subliminally tell them who did it. If the cops knew who did it, they would have the guy arrested, you know, except in his case, he's already behind bars on a different case. They got away. But that's the way that it is, man. All right, I have a question. Why is law enforcement interested in an abandoned car but have no description of the car? Well, you're completely wrong. First off, you're completely wrong. You misheard what was stated. There is no abandoned car. You misheard that completely. That car was at an abandoned building, CPS building. If it was an abandoned car that they felt belonged to a suspect, they'd know his car. Am I right? Am I right? Exactly. They would have his car. The car wasn't abandoned. It was at the abandoned CPS building. You got to you got to go back and hear the retraction on that, because at the same time he said on the 13th or on the 14th that the car was there. Then he came back and he said that was a misquote. I meant on the 13th. Well, he also said that there was a car that was parked at the abandoned CPS building right off County Road 300, but the car wasn't abandoned. The car was drove out of there that night. They said the car was there from 12 and could have been there as late as 5. So there was no abandoned car. Now, I did question that. The one thing that law enforcement wants out about a crime, if there is a car involved, is the make and model of that car with color. They want that out there because that's going to help someone identify who it is by their vehicle. Now, when I went to, well, me and Greeno, when we went and we talked to Sheriff Lesenby, and that was in July of 2018, I had mentioned that about the car. You know, I brought that up. I said, well, you guys never mentioned any car. So, I mean, that's kind of saying that the guy had to walk there. And, you know, Toby Lesenby's like, yeah, we never did mention a vehicle. I'm like, exactly. Well, that makes me feel, because I know that that's the first thing they want out is a possible person or a description of the person with make, model, and color of a vehicle. That helps them locate the guy very quickly because somebody will call that in. So since they never gave a make and model of that car, but they say that there was one there, I got a question. Well, do they know a make and model of the car? Why didn't they tell us? But see, there was no questions you could ask at the briefing. See where I'm at? But man, I should go pull that up so you can hear it. But it's like all of that. It was next day. Doug Carter had he retracted the 14th to the 13th, which is the date he was talking about. But he never one time said abandoned car. Now, I have heard abandoned car many times, many times. And I always tell him that the car wasn't abandoned. You know, the car was there, but then it was gone by 5. They don't know who it belonged to. Well, it's protocol. It really is protocol. Kind of put it in the same way with Toby Lesenby saying, no, we don't feel that there's any direct danger to anybody. We think that this is an isolated event. Well, it's bold to say that because, one, you have somebody that committed brutal murder of 2 little girls. Brutal murder of 2 young girls at a hiking trail, and you don't know who did it. Well, you have to say that. I'll put it like this, man. Up there in Michigan, the DNA and the fingerprints on those 2 crimes, I believe that they matched each other. I do. I think that the DNA from one matched the DNA of the other. The fingerprints of this one matched the other one. Same suspect. But what do you do when you're law enforcement and you have DNA and fingerprints of a guy that you don't know who it belongs to? He has no match. We can say, well, holy shit, man. I mean, we got to locate this guy, but, you know, we can't use our normal means to find out who it is. You see where I'm at? So I think that that's normal protocol. That's what they got to do. Now, if Toby Lesenby came out and said, look, we got a brutal murderer on our hands. We have no idea who it is, but we think he lives local. Keep an eye on your kids, and for the love of God, lock your doors. The entire world would have shit at one time. They all would have had to wipe because it would have freaked the shit out of everybody in the world. They have to use protocol. They have to keep the silence. We'll find this guy quickly. Let's locate him. But they can't have everybody freaking out. They can't have that. If the guy's going to go out and just do it again because he feels under pressure, like he's going to get caught, shit like that, it can happen. Now, I say CC more when it comes to him, because in July of 2018, they came out that they was using the same technology. What happened? Well, CC Moore got on that case in May of 2018. That's when she started on John D. Miller. They arrested him in July of 2018, 2 months later. Now, we was on this channel, me and Greeno, and we was talking about that. We sent a message to CC Moore. She got back a hold of us, said, yes, I do know about the Delphi crime. And if law enforcement did ask, I would be right there to help. Next day, it was like the next day, investigators are already looking at, because they was going to use that. What happened with this guy? What happened? Well, July, August, September, 2 months later, about the time he's expecting them to come knocking on his door like they did John D. Miller. See where I'm at? He knew his time was short. So what did he do in September? He went out and he sexually assaulted a 77-year-old right in her house. Right in her house. Okay? She said, my phone's ringing. That's my husband calling to tell me he's off work and he's on his way home. Thomas Bruce said, if he walks in this house, I'll kill him right in front of you. Before he left. What happened the following month in October? That's when he got pulled over on the road rage incident by the cops. Drunk, mouthy, argumentative, calling the cop an MFer. Still got to go home, though. Yeah. So, and then what happens? 1 month after that, in November, Catholic supply store, sexual assault and homicide. The guy was short on time. He knew it was coming. He knew that they was going to be there any day, and he wanted to go out on his own terms. Now, when he pulled out the Catholic supply store, dressed exactly like Bridge Guy, looking like the sketch, well, why would he go do that? He knew he'd be caught. He knew he couldn't get over on that. He knew. He had just left a drinking establishment right next down the road, right there where they knew who he was. They put out his description. Ladies like, yeah, there was a guy exactly like that was in here. Yes, they left a business card. That's how they located him. He knew he was going to be hit. Why? What was his thought pattern there? Why did he want caught? See that black eye on the guy? They didn't knock on his door. He didn't get the gunfire with him and die like that. Quite contrary. They kicked his door in and he went down fighting because he knew. And he knew after he was arrested that he was hit for the whole shebang. All of it. All of it. It's all coming back. So now he's sitting there for 3 years. 3 years thinking about that. And I wrote to him. And I said, they have it in the paper that your jury trial will be 6 days long. I said, I can't think of why anybody would prepare 3 years for a 6-day jury trial. I mean, OJ's jury trial lasted almost a year, right? So I was thinking, well, for 6 days, and he has been in there for 3, and I think he's come, to the conclusion that I will never leave bars. That day will never ever come for me. I'm hit. I'm gone forever. So what do? Well, you say, well, Your Honor, what I'd like to do is go in and openly confess to this. Confess to everything. Confess to all of it. Now I'm talking about the Catholic supply store. Okay. Go in and confess to it and give that to a jury for life or life without parole. Because really, what can you do? What can you do? Can you go in there and argue with the 2 women that you sexually assaulted that watched you kill the other lady? No, you can't. You can't argue that. You can't say, well, it wasn't me. Well, I was insane at that time. You can't argue those points. They're going for life without parole. So I think he's going to go in, confess, get that off there, let these states go down and talk to him, openly confess to everything, probably in one big trial for all of it. And that will be the show. That will be everything. It will not be in Carroll County, though. But even if it wasn't like this and the one in Delphi was the only crime he ever committed, it would still not be in Carroll County. they would move that to a bigger county, probably like Marion, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, South Bend, something like that. But they wouldn't do it in Carroll County. Let me tell you, out of 20,000 people that live there, there ain't even newborns that never heard of this case. Everybody heard of this case. You wasn't around Carroll County and it just escaped your attention. You see where I'm at? Everybody knows this case. They would have had change of venue and took it elsewhere. Yeah, well, this is kind of a thing. Because of all of them, the only one that I know, well, no, I guess I know more than that. Because there was 3 that lived. There was the 77-year-old who lived, but that was in her house. I don't think he was trying to commit murder. I think he just wanted to humiliate. I think he just wanted that little trip of power. See where I'm at? Now, he also had the Catholic supply store. But think about this from like a sadistic serial killer's point of view. You have sex with this woman in a very ugly way. You know which way I'm talking about. In a very bad way. And then you tell that lady, well, now I want you to orally fixate upon me, you see. When she refused, he shot her in the head and killed her right in front of the other 2 women. Now, at that time, his attention drew directly to their faces because he wanted to see that shock. He wanted to see that on their face, the anguish, because that's what makes him feel powerful. I did that. You see, I created this. I made you feel like that. I have that power. That's how a guy like that thinks. So the same may apply with Evansdale and Delphi. You have one girl that you hurt horribly to get the reaction of the other girl. You see, that's what he seeks. That's what he wants, man. That's what he gets out of it, is that look. You know, that's the part that lifts him up and makes him feel powerful. So that's what I think is really, you know, at the bottom there. You know, he left those 2 women alive, and I don't think it was so that they could come back one day and try him in court. I think he was probably going for police suicide. When they came knocking, let's shoot it out. They'll kill me. Game over. You know, there it is. You know, it's over with, man. So am I. Thankfully, they didn't do it like that. Now, I do know that they got stuff out from under his trailer. Hey, Arrow Sarge, man. Ain't seen you in a long while. How you doing, dude? And glad you're here. They pulled stuff out from... Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, I kind of covered that just a little bit ago there. I think it was for the reason of cop suicide. I mean, it wasn't that he was going to leave him alive so that they could testify him one day. You know, I think that he knew he was going to be caught. You know, he knew when he did Catholic Supply Store that he was going to be caught. It was just a matter of time, you know, until they tracked him down. So I think that when they went to it, you know, they kicked his door into his house. They didn't knock. It wasn't a shootout like he thought it would be, you know, like he thought it could be or turn into. It was quite honestly different. They kicked the doors in and went in and just snatched that guy up. Now, they pulled stuff out from under his house. I heard in a box, but I don't know this to be true. I did not hear that directly from law enforcement, although I do think it was something that law enforcement had stated at the time. Can't be found now. But I believe that it was stated like that. Allow me to go on. They found a box of items under his house. Now, people said, well, it's probably his clothes. Wait a minute. When you leave 2 people alive, the clothes are the last thing that he's going to be worried about them finding. Oh, they might think it was me, but I ain't got those clothes, do I? No, it wouldn't be like that at all. They would know primarily, really quick, yeah, it's you. You know, we got DNA and everything on the scene. It's you. So I don't think that he left them alive for any other reason, aside of the fact that, you know, they didn't need to die. You know, he got that look. He got what he was after. He killed that lady, man. I mean, you know, he got everything that he needed to fixate on in a crime, all in those actions at one spot. So that's kind of my reasoning there, you know, was probably cop suicide. Now, I put that in my last letter, you know, and I think I mentioned it to him before that he was seeking police suicide. It seems like the best we got, man. You got to see more on the case. You know, his time's short before they come knocking, you know. And I just feel that he wanted to do it again. You know, I'm going to go out and I'll make this a real big. Because down in St. Louis, man, the Catholic supply store, that was big news. That was big news. 2 days they was hunting for that guy. It was done on the 19th. They arrested him on the 21st. Now, in that box of items, I believe, I think, I feel, gut instinct, that likely one of the items that was in there was mementos. Items off of these people. Serial killers like to keep items from their victims, like little memorabilia of that moment. But what's the one thing that they would want more than anything else was video and pictures of the crime. That look. You see, if they could have that look on video, on a videotape, then they could relive that moment. You see where I'm at? Now, those are items that if you are living in a house and you have a wife, you do not want your wife to find. So you would keep them in a place where your wife wouldn't find them, where they would not be in a place where she could find them. You know, and then under the house in a box, likely, very likely. Michael, great reporter, you too, you were. Hey, Tyler, man, how you doing, dude? Oh, hey, crap. Did not see that till just now. I'm a Pennsylvania deer hunter, people. I finally hit the big time. Man, now I can go to Pennsylvania and hunt deer at my liking. And I will too. One day I'll just go right. You know, I got family in Pennsylvania. Highland County. Long time ago. Simon Stroop. I think he was born in 1811. But he's like my fourth great grandfather on my mom's side. He was a German Baptist. Probably like Amish today. I would think, you know, something like that. No, you have to. You have to. You have to think like a criminal. That is fact. And again, I mean, I go back to Columbo and Sherlock Holmes. You don't get there by thinking like this guy over here. You have to put your place there. You know, why are they thinking like this? You know, what was their motive? I mean, for everything and for every thought and every action, there's a motive behind it. You have to think like that. Well, it would, and again, I mean, I say that because no, it wouldn't be clothes. He could hide the clothes. He could throw the clothes away or do whatever he wanted to the clothes so he wouldn't be immediately noticed. Yeah, and I think that they even got him on that. But that box under the house didn't contain those clothes. They wasn't going to come knocking at his door and go, oh, yeah, it wasn't me, man. Hell, I wasn't even over there yesterday. You can ask my wife. You know, it wouldn't be like that because when they found the guy, they would know they had him. They knew who they was looking for, and when they arrested him, they knew they had him. So the box under the house would probably be something way bigger than the clothes he was wearing. And again, I think it goes right back to videotaping. Now, I say videotaping, and I could even go the route of pictures. You know, the thing is how would I explain it? I got it. And I'm talking more specifically to men. I'm an older guy. I'm 55. So I remember my younger days, my really younger days. I mean, like those days, if you see where I'm going in my life with Playboy, penthouse. You see where I'm at? Pictures. But there comes a day when the pictures, while nice, don't do it as well as the real deal. You see where I'm at? Pictures of a person that you are victimizing is one thing, but videotape is different, because now you can repeatedly watch that, and it's like reliving that exact moment over and over again. That's why I think that there may have been videotape. Now, a person brought forward to me that there was something that appeared to be right here on his hat, about right in the middle right there, almost like a bump of sorts, like it could have been a video camera that was mounted to his hat. And I thought, you know what? Dude, you just made some very good sense to me, because I've been saying for a long time that the guy had likely videotaped or took photos, one or the other, whichever he had more available. But I'm certain that the guy had money where he could afford something to videotape. You know, something like that. That way he could constantly relive that over and over again. So it didn't strike me as odd that the guy could have had a video camera on his hat. Now, I go back on his Twitter feed. If you go to Tom Bruce's Twitter feed, you'll see that it ends in November of 2016. And then it starts back up again in April of 2017, because through that time, he ran out of money. That's why he filed bankruptcy in January of 2017. You see where I'm at? So I don't think that he had a serviceable phone, you know, one that had service. Because everybody says, well, if they got all the cell phones that was pinging, they'd know exactly who did it, unless that person didn't have service. Then it may not. It may not. But like Robert Ives said, well, we can't go get everybody's phone information, because that's a violation of their privacy. We can't say, well, we need everybody's, because we don't have probable cause against these people. You see where I'm at? Now, I would believe a man this age that was in the Navy, that did avionics and so on, would definitely be in the know that they could GPS a phone from there. Because even you and I know that, and we don't even have anything to do with it. You see where I'm at? It's public knowledge. So I believe that he would have had this public knowledge and wouldn't have carried a serviceable cell phone with him. But I do believe he had binoculars, a knife, a pistol, probably a video camera, or a way to take photos minimally. Okay. Hey, Irish Angel, there she is. 2 days. It was done on November the 19th of 2018. They arrested him on November the 21st of 2018. Now, allow me to get back to another point. I feel that his fingerprints is what tipped off St. Louis police that he was involved with Delphi. I think that they came back as the Delphi unknowns, the Genesee County unknowns. In every crime where he had left fingerprints, they came back as those. You know, they all were seeking a match. And when they put his fingerprints in, bam, they all matched up. Now, what happened? Right after they called Carroll County, the following day, the FBI was there. The FBI was there to get his DNA. Why? Because they wanted that DNA match so it would match all of them in the same way. Now, they go down and get that. Now, it's been some time ago, at least a few months ago, minimally a few months ago. I went to go look all that up. You know, go back and look over those news articles and this and that and the other, see what information I could get back out of it. All of it was gone. All of it. All of it. Every news article, every news comment, every news station that had ever put anything up about it, scrubbed from the internet. Scrubbed. Gone. Deleted. It's history. Can't be found. So I'll ask, why would the FBI do that? Huh? Why would they scrub the information that they went down there and got his DNA? It was all over the news. All over the news. The news lady, man, down in St. Louis. Well, the FBI came and got it. They're running it through CODIS. There's not been a match yet because it was less than a couple days since they had taken it. They couldn't get a match yet, but they're still looking. That was the last word you heard of it right there. Now, I got a hold of Tom Bruce's neighbor right there where he lived in Imperial. She was the neighbor at the trailer park where he lived at the time of his arrest. Now, When I got a hold of her, because she was on the news right there with her name, she was really easy to find and locate. I said, no, look, I'm just reaching you for this information, nothing further. I don't think you're stalking your neighbors, okay? I don't feel that at all. What I want to know is, do you feel that he looks like the guy that's in this video? And I sent her the video clip. She got back a hold of me with these words. I'm going to tell you the same thing I told the FBI. I don't know whether that's him or not. I can't tell. So I'm going to ask, why do you think the FBI was investigating Thomas Bruce on Delphi? They had fingerprints. They had DNA. Why did they need to talk to people? Because they knew conclusively that this man right here had pulled off Delphi. That's why. The FBI don't waste their time. They don't waste their time. They don't go out and go, well, I got a hunch it could be him. Let's go ask his neighbor. No, they wouldn't be talking about it unless they felt that he had done it. That's what's important. He did do it. How did he know his way around Delphi? He didn't. I don't think the guy had really ever been in Delphi. In fact, I would say that. The guy has probably never stopped in Delphi. I mean, why would he? Why would he stop? He's taking Highway 25 to Hoosier Heartland. There's the trail. I can stop at the trail. That was probably his thing. On the 13th of February, 2017, he didn't go through Delphi. You see, it's kind of like this. If you're driving the Hoosier Heartland North to Fort Wayne, okay, if you're driving that, then you see right there is Freedom Bridge. You go under Freedom Bridge. Right there, you got the sign, Monon High Bridge Trail. You can go right back around there, stop at that little trail, get out, hike, take a quick little hike. It's a little bitty trail. Take a quick hike, stretch your legs, get back in your car, and go right back up. But you don't go all the way into Delphi when you do that. It's like right there. Yeah, hang on. Let me go pull this back up for you guys. I'll give it to you like so, man. All right. North Washington Street, really? Okay, whatever. So here is Monon High Bridge Trail. And this right here is Highway 25. This is the Hoosier Heartland right here. Highway 25. Now, as you can see, this is Delphi over here. This is the road that he would have taken going to his family's house up in Fort Wayne. Let me just back way out here, man. We can get up here. It's like for us, like Logansport. We got to go way out. This is Fort Wayne over here. So let me get back. So he's taking the Hoosier Heartland. Highway 25, like that. Now, when he gets to here, specifically right here, this is where the trail begins. This is the parking area to the trail. The trail's over here. You got to get out. Man, I hate mouse sores. God, they piss me off. You get out, you cross Freedom Bridge, you walk down, you cross here. Now, this is what I feel that he did many times. Now, I'm not saying that he had to park here. I think that he would normally park over here. This is the abandoned CPS building right here. It's gone now. This is where he parked, right here. Okay. You see the little trail where it goes right out and walks right in to the trail. Just like that. So I don't think that he knew Delphi. I don't think he knew anybody in Delphi. I think that he had just used the Hoosier Heartland to go from St. Louis to home. Many times. Small trails, hey, man, that's a place where opportunity can happen, you know? Oh man, he probably stopped there many times. Said, man, okay, there's maybe a person that walks through every 45 minutes, every hour, maybe every 2 hours. Hell, maybe you're lucky to see a person and nobody's going to really be back behind him. So, in knowing that, because this man, the suspect I'm talking of, had walked this trail many times. Now, the trail begins right here and it ends right here. Right there is where the trail ends. Specifically, right where Monon High Bridge begins. Because the bridge isn't part of the trail. Neither is the south side. It's private property. Everything over to the left-hand side. When you walk in and you go down to here, everything that's on your left side of that trail right here, all the way over and over here, is all private property. The trail is from here down to here, and this area here is in the trail as well. Although nobody ever travels through here. You'll never see anybody hiking over in here or down this way along the water's edge. They walk the trail till they get down to here, secondary entrance. Then the 505 goes down to here. You know, it follows right along the 501 down to here, and then it goes down to here. That's it. But this trail hill goes down to here. Everything on the left is private property, including this right here. This property right here on this side of the trail. All of this over here, this down to here, belongs to Mears that live right here. That's their property. Now, once you get to a cemetery, you got the big ravine that goes down. And on this side belonged to Ronald Logan. Right here is where he lives. Okay? This is where the girls were found, about right there. That's where the bodies were found. Right there. Okay? So he'd been there. Now, he may have in the past parked here, you know, but I think in his mind, being a serial killer, I think that he tried to keep his car out of view because, hey, I'm here. What would happen if somebody walked by that I wanted to victimize? Huh? Well, I can just take them off over here and do the crime and leave. I think that was more his mind scope. But I don't think that he was around Delphi, you know, talking to people, drinking, anything like that. I think that he had alcohol with him. I think that he carried it along. I think that he liked to stay intoxicated, as most sadistic serial killers do. Look at Ted Bundy, BTK, Wayne Gacy, Gary Ridgway, Ted Bundy. You know, most all these people, after they commit a crime, they feel very evil. You know, just like Ted Bundy had said. He said after the first one, he goes, I felt so sick. So, let me think of the words. He said it was like a fever, you know, that he'd woke up. He had been drinking. But once it came back to him, once he realized that not only had he thought about it, he went and acted on this, that he had really killed that woman and done those things to her. He said it was like a fever. You know, it was just that he wanted to get rid of everything that would tie him to it. He couldn't believe that he had done anything that evil, you know, that he had really carried on and done it. He said he started chucking everything, you know, that he had, everything that he had used out of his car because he didn't want it around him. And he said, and then what happens? He goes, like 2 weeks later, I felt like an idiot for getting rid of it because then he wanted to go do it again. And it came back. You know, the alcohol drew it back. You know, you have the Dutch courage where it brings it forward, where you really go and, you know, you act upon these things in your mind. But after the fact, how do you deal with it? You get drunk because drinking makes it go away. You know, it helps you live with it. And then it makes you think, hey, well, you know, like that. It brings it back again. You know, it's like alcoholism, but worse. You know, I did a lot of regretful things under alcohol. Man, I could sit here and literally talk for ages about things that I had done that I wish I had never done while I was under the influence of alcohol. But this guy isn't like me. He don't have those minor regrets. You know, he don't have that. He has major regrets. He has demonic regrets. You know, that's where the guy's mind is. Just like Ted Bundy, just like BTK. You know, these guys, once they do it and they see that they've done it, they got to live with the fact that they've done it. But then they turn to alcohol. It eases the pain, but that alcohol brings it right back into their focus. It brings it right back again. So I think that that's one reason why in every single case that I can think of, this man right here was intoxicated on alcohol. Where in the hell have you been, Bev? I've been on that for 3 years. Yes, of course he pulled off Evansdale. Evansdale and Delphi were done by one of the same guys. This man right here, TJB. I'll put his name down here so you can read it. And I will add of St. Louis. That is not true. He is not from St. Louis, but that will find the Catholic supply store. Sexual assault and homicide. Well, now that's what you say. That's exactly what you say, but that's not really the point. You know, you're saying, oh, he didn't feel bad for killing after the first one. What I'm saying is the first time he went and killed, the very first lady that he actually went and killed, he was drunk when he did it. He said, when I came out of that drunk, when I woke up, he goes, I knew what I had done. He goes, I seen that it was no longer the thought of killing a person. I literally went and done that to a lady I didn't know. He said he felt very demonic and evil, and that it was almost like a fever came over him, you know, that first time. Because then he knew when he was sober that, yeah, I was drunk and I did go carry on and I did do that to that woman. Now, after that, then it became more of a compulsion that, yeah, I did do that. And not only did I do that, I can go do it again, you know, because having done it once, now I can, you know, you see. So that's why after the first killing, you know, that's what Ted Bundy said, man. He said, once I realized that I had done it, then it you know, it was different, you know, that he felt very evil, you know, that he had done it. Alcohol brought it back. And that's what he said, too. He said, well, it was pornography that had kicked it off, but it was alcohol that really brought it forward. Those were after the fact, Sandra. That wasn't the first one. He went back to the first one because he wanted to clear everything up. He wanted to find her shoe, her earrings, things that were missing. And yeah, he did do that. Women that he would kill after the first one, he would go back to the bodies, masturbate, relive in the moment. Now, if Ted Bundy had today's technology at his fingertips, do you believe that he would have videotaped the killing of these women? I do to 100%. Of course I do. Yeah, he would have videotaped it. He probably would have had a stage set up where he could have pulled it off. That way he could take that home and relive it at any moment he wanted to. That's the way sadistic serial killers want it. They want to constantly relive those old murders. They want to constantly see the look in their eyes. They want to constantly see the mental torture that they have these women under. Well, they make them fight for their last breath. You know, this is what makes them feel powerful. Now, it's not like you and me live in that. You and I would never go do that. I'd never go do that to a woman. You know, that'd be the first thing from my effing mind, is to go do that to somebody. But these people are one in millions who have that little dynamic genetic link that makes them think different than us. You know, they don't think like us. They think very different than us in respect to that. Ted Bundy thought that women should be property. You know, that you could own a lady just the same way you could a Porsche. You know, that's the way he thought it should be. It's very sick. But these people think like that. You know, we don't. You know, we look for these people, man, for justice, for what they've done. And they hide from the cops. You know, they hide. In some cases, flaunt it. In some cases, write to the cops. I mean, if you look at like Zodiac, BTK, a lot of these people wrote to the cops, man, said, yeah, that's right. I did it. You know, well, BTK got a hold of him. And he says, well, the only way that I have to do this is through a floppy disk. Can you guys find out who did it from a floppy disk? You're thinking that the cops are not going to lie to him. They're like, well, no, man, if it's a floppy disk, of course we have no way to find out. So what did he do? He took the information from floppy disk, sent it to the cops. Cops said, okay, it came from this IP address. Go there, find out who was there at that time. Well, the only person that would be here would be, would be Dennis Rader. I mean, he's our, and that's how they tracked it down to Dennis Rader as being BTK, because he was reaching the cops. And he thought, well, they respect me. They wouldn't lie to me. Well, they don't respect you. They want to find your idiot ass. That's the lowdown. Well, yes, I said that, and I want you to hear me specifically here. I do believe. Oh, wait, Radar's here? Oh, hell yeah, Radar's here. Right on, Radar. Thanks for being here. I like it when I see people, man. When people are gone for a while, I miss them. And I say, oh, gee, I didn't see Watcher. You didn't see Radar. You didn't see Radar around, Like, where was Michael Green? Where was he hanging out, I always like to see people when they show up. Anyways, let me get back to this. I do believe that what had happened, let me re-highlight your comment, was after he was arrested on November 21st, 2018 for the Catholic Supply Store sexual assault and homicide. At that time, he was living in Jefferson County, which is not in St. Louis County, but the crime was committed in St. Louis County. He was living in Imperial, which just was a little bit west in Jefferson County, right outside of St. Louis. When he was arrested, the cops kicked his door in, went in to find him and pull him out. You see the black guy, they let him have it. I think the guy went down fighting. Now, I remember at that time hearing, and it wasn't through theory. It wasn't somebody's little speculation where they just threw it out. Oh, they found a box under his house. Quite contrary. Because I do remember when I was watching the police talk about it, that they said, yeah, we did find items under his house. Now, I didn't say what items. They didn't say they were in a box. I believe that someone had said that they did pull a box out from under his house that had items. Now, this is why I believe that. This is what I think. And I think that because we do live in a day of technology, in a big day of technology. Look, man, I go back before 2012. I would not have anybody around me, nobody around me. If they pulled a camera out, I said, do not point that at me. I do not want to be on it. I knew that they had facial recognition where that they could locate you by your face. And I said, I don't even want on that. But there came a day. There came a day when I went into Kokomo and I said, you know what? I can't even pass a stoplight without being on camera. It's retarded for me to try to stay off of the camera. If I go to a store, I'm on a camera. If I'm going down the road, I'm on a camera. If I walk by a store, I'm on a camera. They got me anyway. It's not like I'm hiding. It's not like I'm a fugitive. It's not like that. I just didn't want in that game. Now, here's the thing. We live in a day of technology. I can go buy a video camera. 4K. Honestly, I can go buy a 4K camera that will sit right here on my little hood of my hat. I can videotape everything I do all day in 4K if I want. Now, I'm not saying that he did that, but I'm not saying he didn't have one mounted right here. And the guy made a good point that it could be. It could be. It may be. But I think that a sadistic serial killer that wants to relive these crimes, one thing that they would do is have that set up in some way where they could videotape it as it happened. Man, they could go back home, you see where I'm at, or any alone time, and relive that right there. They could relive that exact moment over and over and over again. and feel powerful. You see where I'm at? Ted Bundy, if he had video cameras, man, he would have videotaped all of them. BTK, same way. You know, any of these sadistic serial killers, they get, that's their kick, is what they pulled off and what they did to these people. The look on their face that made them feel powerful. They want to relive that. So I believe that one item, provided, and I want to be clear, provided that they found something under his house in a box, would have been probably videotape. Because one thing he would have to keep away from his wife is that. Where is he going to hide it? Where she can't find it in the house? Well, maybe there wouldn't be a place in the house where he could hide it. But under the house, in a box, or wherever like that, under the house, he knew she wouldn't be up underneath there looking around and find it and go look at it or anything like that. That's why I believe that it probably had videotape of not just this crime, maybe others, I don't know, you know, that he had pulled off. I don't think that, but then again, I mean, I look at it like Ed Kemper. Ed Kemper's a guy that, you know, when he was driving around, he picked him up. And then he says, well, maybe I can engage in conversation with him. You see, maybe I can take it a little bit further. Then he started carrying a gun under it. He'd pick people up and he's like, man, I got a gun right under here too. Maybe I can take him out yonder, man, you know, kill him, do whatever I want. You know, and that's how it is, because it leads up to it, you know. Now, Mary Pryor, I'm positive that when he walked out of that bar, he didn't have a camera with him. And Pates, he's driving home. He may have, for just such an instance, had a video camera, but it was nighttime. But if you go out in the day and you want to relive something and you got a video camera, you're probably going to have it. You know, you're probably going to have it with you to capture the crime. Now, I think that living in a day of technology in which we do, that those avenues would have been very clear to him, and he probably would have used them to his advantage. So I think that it's not conclusive, but it's certainly possible, very, very, very possible that he had videotape of some of these crimes. Whether that's true or not, we will find out. Let me see. And what was Bev's question? I'm looking for Bev's question. Bev, where did you ask a question up here? Bev, if you could repeat that question, because I cannot find any question from Bev. Last I see that Bev wrote was gross. Not really a question. If there's any questions that I did not get to, please put them up there. Says, Cat, we got a good question, man. Don't see it. Oh, you know what? Good question. I like that. I like that question, man. It's a good thing, man. I went looking to find it. Would they kill us because they could relive it? You know what? Very hard to answer that. I mean, I can't answer that. I'm not a serial killer. I'm not somebody that goes out and does that and would take enjoyment in watching that. But I think that it would be like Gilligan's Island. I've seen over my life every single Gilligan's Island where I could turn the sound off and tell you exactly what everybody's saying in every little part of it. I've seen them a million times. From the time I was a little bitty kid. In fact, before I was 5, I remember my aunt saying that it was my favorite show. Sit down, your favorite show's on. And it was Gilligan's Island. I watched every single Gilligan's Island so many times. I know a story. I know what they're saying. I know every little part in it. I can even point to little things and bloopers and little things, you know, all this and that. So I think that what it is that, yeah, they could relive that moment over and over again. But I think that there would be time that, well, I need a new show. In response to your question, Anthony, no. Do I come off as gay to you? Are you looking for a date, Anthony? So I think that they would want a new show. I think that it would come down of, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I relived that. Yeah, that blah, 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 just like you would mentally, but with video. But there would come a time of, well, what I want is this and to do these things and capture that, to try to perfect it like a painting. You see where I'm at? To try to embetter it at all times. Man, radar. And good job though, man. Right on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that that's what it amounts to. I mean, if I had a show that I really liked and I watched it so many times that it just become old, you would want to raise the standard, because in that, what he is he's the actor, he's the producer, he's the editor. He's the one that's creating this crime, and he's trying to make it into what he wants it to be, like the perfect commission of that crime, to hurt that person in such a way as to bring, it's constantly raising the bar. So I don't think so, man. I mean, I think that he would go commit more crimes, but he would have them kind of saved back. There is no mark under the guy's eye. Well, I have to point to it. Hang on. That right there is that right there. And what I did was I took this picture and I took it to paint, and I painted in all around those parts, and then I deleted everything, left the black eye as a PNG, and then I took his picture or the sketch here, and then I took the PNG down so that this here and there and that right there were right there and right there. So no, they didn't identify that he had a black eye like 2 years later, but I thought it looked really cool. It sets it off, doesn't it? I mean, can you not tell they're the same guy? I mean, when you had the black eye. Let me see. I had a question, Kat. Sorry, I missed it. Throw it down there, and I will get right to it immediately. Just type it in. What happened was he was at Hot Shots drinking establishment right down the street from the Catholic supply store prior to going to the Catholic supply store and pulling off the commission of the sexual assault and homicide. Now, when he was there, because they was looking for a guy that fit the description with the hat, same clothes as Delphi, same identical, even looked like the sketch. So when they got that information, the lady's like, "Oh, that sounds like the guy that was in here yesterday." She called law enforcement. He left a business card. They went to that establishment, went through all their garbage till they found that business card, traced it to his address, and went and arrested him. That's all they knew. Just one. He's only charged with the Catholic supply store, sexual assault, and homicide. And I believe they also got him for the sexual assault of the 77-year-old as well. But that's because they can't be talked to about other crimes until after he's convicted. Then they'll bring the others forth. Yes, he was. Positively. Because if they say anything about him, all they're going to be doing is inundated with questions. And the only way they could answer those questions is with their investigation. What are they never going to turn loose of? What have they stated from day one? We're not getting rid of our investigation. We got to keep it close, very close to us. It's got to be very secret. We don't need anybody to know. And that's what they're doing. No, but he didn't have to be going. I think that he specifically drove up here from St. Louis to Monon High Bridge Trail to commit the act and drive straight home. Would have been home by 6 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, well, Mary Pryor was 83, did the same thing to her, but even worse. Even worse, if you see where I'm at. What about the hair? I quote law enforcement right after the Delphi murders. This guy will do whatever he can to change his appearance. Now, person says, well, yeah, but he's bald up here. Well, yeah, but when he was at High Bridge Trail, he had a hat on. All you could see was the little sides of his hair. Now, if I'm looking at that guy in his eyes, if he was looking at that guy in his eyes, what color hair would you say he had? Look at his eyes. Look at his eyebrows. What color hair would you say he had? I'd say reddish brown. Look at his eyes and his eyebrows. I'd say he had reddish brown hair. That's exactly what I'd say. Wouldn't even have to see his hair. I'd say, yeah, he probably had reddish brown hair. I mean, you could kind of tell. I will look up the fashion bug. The fashion bug? Really? Okay, yeah, I will check into those. All right, everybody. I have been on here for about 2.5 hours, man. There's 89 people here, and if I ain't got 100 thumbs up, I'm going to hunt everybody. I'll hunt you all down. I'll steal your dogs. I'll take them home and love them until they don't want to return to you anymore. That's the kind of person I am. A little evil. I'm a little evil dog thief. Yeah. Thank you. And I'm glad you agree too, Radar. I really am, man. Because really, if you're looking at him and he's got a hat on, what color hair are you gonna say he's got? Look at his eyes. Look at his eyebrows. You're gonna say, well, he had to have like reddish brown hair. I mean, I didn't really see his hair. But if you go look at his pictures from that time, after that time, 2 years after that time, his hair on the side of his hair still got dark on it. Now you gonna say that like a little bit of hair couldn't be right here? It had a little reddish brown to it. I would, but I don't think the lady was sitting there staring at his hair. I really don't. I think she was talking to him and had to remember all this shit back over months. That's where I'm at. Okay, man. So is there 100 thumbs up? Is there 100? If not, man, 88 people here. You got a second on my invisible watch. Hit that thumbs up. Make me happy. Yeah. He doesn't fit with the second sketch. The second sketch was generic and made to be that way because it fit the narrative. It fit the narrative. Local guy, 18 to 40, hiding in plain sight. To wit, what'd I say? What was my exact words? Bullshit. They're fucking lying. He didn't wear no wig. Look, man, this guy ain't all high tech and shit. He didn't think anybody would even see or even know he was there. And he damn sure didn't think that he was on that girl's phone. He didn't know that. He had no idea of that. When that came out, he probably shit himself. A real big one. You know what? It is not going to... Oh, man. Thank you guys, man. You guys rock, man. Got 100 thumbs up. That's what I need. Okay, but anyway, man, all viewers, man, everybody out there, and if you're viewing, man, and you're not a mod, you probably haven't been here when I handed out, like, moderators. Because I just go through and bam, you're a mod, you're a mod. Everybody look under your seat because you're a mod today, you know? So, yeah, all moderators, all viewers, man, everybody out there, man, I will see you next Tuesday. And probably by that time, me and Greeno will have the first video up, and we can watch that. Greeno's going to be on my show after that, after we premiere them on both channels, and we'll discuss it, man. I'll see everybody next Tuesday. Irish Angel, it's still going to be in the mail very soon. I will get it to you. I promise, man. Everybody have a great week. Peace.